Hello, Kelsey. This is Kelsey Harris. Hi, guys, from the Immortal Self. This is your host, Brian. And I have Kelsey here talking about mindfulness. And I think mindfulness is a very important thing. I've learned that a lot of that. I had a lot of groups in the in the hospital on mindfulness. And I think if we can be in the now all the time and trust our future self and remember that the past cannot be changed and it was meant to be because it happened that way. That's what my 2 cents on it. What do you think, Kelsey?
Yeah, totally. I think you nailed it. Like being in the present is really a key to happiness. It's a key to well-being. We spend a lot of time naturally. Our brains are either always looking at the future, and that's often when we get some anxiety, or we're dwelling on the past, the things that we can't change because it's too late to change them, which is often associated with depression, right? So when we're present, we just have a little bit more control over this moment, and that's the whole idea behind mindfulness.
So you teach that?
Yeah, so I am a registered clinical counselor. So as a therapist, I use that with my clients, and then I do have a meditation channel on YouTube, in which I just put out meditations as a kind of a meditation teacher type way.
Y- Go
To
ahead and share that with my group.
Yeah, so it's Kelsey L. Harris Meditations. So it's on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of meditations. I try to put one out every week.
Mm,
And some of them are informal too. So if you don't like to sit and meditate, because I know that some people really struggle with that, there are some that are like walking meditations or meditating while doing the dishes, right? There's lots of ways to incorporate mindfulness into our lives, even if we're not just sitting down for 20 minutes on a cushion.
I suggest you guys listen to that because I'm sure any kind of meditating is good for you. Getting in trance, getting in the flow.
Exactly. Yeah, and meditation is a really good way to, if you want to become more mindful, to exercise that muscle. Because, like I said before, our brains aren't designed naturally to be in the present. And so, what meditation does is it helps to train our minds to be in the present. And a lot of people, like the biggest misconception with meditation is that I've heard from clients and from people in general, is that they think that it means your mind doesn't do anything, but that's impossible. Our minds
Right.
always do stuff. So it's actually totally okay if your mind keeps going off on these tangents while you're meditating. The idea is to notice when that happens and then come back to, say, your breath or whatever you're trying to, concentrate on.
I've been trying to do a daily TikTok on daily breath, on the daily breath. Just doing a little audio on case breathe. All those TikTok things are so intense. I thought maybe interrupting it with a little breathing would be a good thing, and maybe it could increase my influence or career.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like taking a moment to breathe. That's why Apple put on their Apple Watches right when the Apple Watch came out was that breathe thing where it like beeps you every hour or whatever to like breathe for a minute,
Huh.
and it's like so
Wow.
smart because we forget that sometimes we just need to take that moment to ourselves.
So you talk about the mind body connection too. I heard that.
Yeah, and a lot there's a lot of evidence, research that's been done on the mind and the body and how it all works together. So sometimes when we talk about like a physical illness, the doctors that we go see only talk about the physical aspect of that. Or if we talk about, mental health, we talk about the psychological components to that. But psychologically, anything that we feel or that we are thinking, we feel it in our body. So if you're feeling sad, you can think about, okay, well, where in my body do I feel sad? And often that could be your stomach or your chest might be tight. And
Sounds
it's really
like something Richard Bandler would say.
yeah, there's
Uh,
lots of researchers on this.
Yeah. And all neurolinguistic programming, picturing pictures in your head and noticing the feelings in your body, changing it the other way. If you're feeling sad in a particular area of your body, and you can notice it turning in a certain way, or notice a color, change the color, change the turn. It helps, I believe.
Yeah.
just changing the energy flow, even if it's imaginary, so you can feel it, energy flow around to be in a positive way, and it contradicts and it equals itself out to be normal. Anyway,
Yeah, like I think you're right onto it. So like we can, our mind and body influence each other. So if you change something in one part, it can change something in the other part as well, which is also where it applies to physical illnesses, right? Because when we're in pain, for example, we tend to feel sad or anxious about the pain. So if we are less sad or anxious, we are often less pain, or vice versa. If we're in less pain, we're less sad and anxious. It's really interesting how that all works together. And then I don't know if listeners have heard of polyvagal theory, but I was just attending a summit on, and one of the presenters was the developer of polyvagal theory, which is really about how your nervous system is interacting and all of that as well. And, a lot of things that they talk about is that, your nervous system remembers things like trauma, it remembers things that have happened in your life that even if your brain doesn't like you don't intellectually remember it because it's so long ago, your body will remember it. And I think that's like a really important connection for people to understand as well when we're talking about, helping ourselves through any mental health or physical health challenges.
um, I was just thinking one of the reasons why I play the Maha Mantra, which is a chant, which is just 4 words, but it's kind of in a pattern, and the Krishnas chant this over and over again, over and over again, and to get themselves into the flow or into the state of mind where they're not thinking about anything, you know what I'm saying, except for the whole rote memory that they have. I just think that's interesting.
Yeah, totally. I think that's like a mantra like that is just another great mindfulness practice, right? Because then that's what they're focusing on.
Yeah, it doesn't matter really, I think, what the mantra is. If it's positive, you can say that over and over again in the shower, even, then it'll help.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people find that mantras are helpful for them. I know I have my own mantras. The thing about a mantra is it has to be really personal, and you have to really believe it for it to have any kind of effect on you. Using somebody else's won't help.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily talking about positive thinking. That makes sense. I know. Sometimes, every once in a while, I'll go and take a dry erase marker and write on the mirror, you deserve to be loved, or something like that, just to remind myself of the positive things in my life.
Yeah, I love that because that's a great act of self-compassion, or even just to say, I like myself the way I am. Like those kind of self-compassion pieces are also part of a whole mindfulness practice as well, which is and that really like loving yourself and being present really go together. And I know a lot of people struggle with self-compassion or don't like that word. You can think of it as self-kindness or whatever resonates a little better with you, but it is very helpful for our well-being, and there's been tons of research on that as well.
Wow. So what if somebody wanted to call you up, or call you, is that why you came up to me, to just to share with my idea? I know you, what would you want to share, or basically is what
Yeah,
I'm asking.
so I like to share just about like how mindfulness can be very helpful. Again, coming from, yeah, I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, so I've done a lot of research on the subject.
So
And
if you're like, if you're really manic, how do you
mhm.
bring yourself, like, really anxious, or if you're bored, what do you do?
Yeah, those are great questions. So, I mean, always, I think if you can get yourself to a mental health professional, a lot of mental health professionals use mindfulness with their clients to help them with things like if you're feeling really manic or if you're very anxious. Um, A lot of people find it very calming. That's not necessarily the point of being mindful, but it's a great effect when that happens. So, if I were to use that with someone, I would, just have them sit and maybe we just focus on the breath. And then I would just remind them to come back to the breath. There's lots of different types of meditations that I think are important to do. Some of them are just about focusing on that anxiety, which can also help decrease the anxiety, which is really interesting because we think that it's going to do the opposite and make it worse, but it often makes it better. So, um,
Meditation helps
yeah,
the anxiety.
exactly.
Yeah. Self meditation is the hardest though when you're very anxious. I
Yes.
would say that you should definitely get something online or go to somebody to do that. I do meditations myself. I was trained as a hypnotist, and so I do guided imagery, but with a little bit of the standard, stairs and progressive relaxation. Um, I've been doing it. I haven't really been. I'm really working hard on getting experience in pain management, helping people that are in pain, because then what you can do is you can have them imagine their hand being freezing cold, so that they don't feel the pain, or it's called glove anesthesia. And so you put on the glove of coldness and touch where it's painful, moving. I've had success with tattoo pain relief, getting people getting tattoos without pain. I want to get a little bit more into that. But yeah, is there anything else you'd like to say, Kelsey?
Yeah, actually, I just want to add on to the tattoo pain relief thing. I think that's really great and a great way to incorporate mindfulness is for a lot of people. So I have a number of tattoos,
Oh, cool.
and one thing I found is that when I started practicing mindfulness myself, I the last time I got a tattoo, it actually kind of tickled. Like it wasn't I
Yeah,
didn't feel
yeah.
that kind of pain because there's other things going on, right? So it does change your relationship with pain. So I think that's great. And anybody's really interested in more about that, I have a Instagram account that you guys can check out. It's at chronically.living underscore. And then as well as my podcast, which is called Chronically Living as well.
Just so you know, I have a link in my podcast description of all the text that you might want to put. Email me. Do you still have my email,
Yeah,
or
definitely.
email me, Kelsey, what you want me to put on the podcast? I have a separate website for the Immortal Self podcast.
Perfect.
And so I'll link to that with whatever images or um, offers or programs or phone numbers or emails, anything that you'd like
Awesome. That
to
sounds great.
get some professional networking here. If my listeners need some professional help, then we know we can go to this awesome Kelsey, Mrs. Kelsey Heller Harris.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I give a lot of free information online, and then obviously, if you're looking for like actual help with your mental health, just find a therapist in your area. Usually, a quick Google search will
You
get you
know,
a whole bunch. So,
there are some websites that are doing some free, I forgot what their names are, but telehealth through the phone.
yeah,
I forgot, there's 2 of them at least, and I forgot what they are too, and I'm sure that would be okay because it's so one-on-one.
yeah. Yeah, there's I think BetterHelp is one, that's pretty popular,
Mm.
so but what they do is they align you with a therapist in your area who's doing the online support so that you have somebody who's
I mean,
technically still local.
I was in San Bernardino, I guess I got one in San Francisco, so
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
it's
cool,
cool.
cool.
Yeah. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys listening, and I really appreciate you, Kelsey. I appreciate the time that you spent and the patience that you've had with me and everything. I I'm really working on my podcast and changing it up every day it's a little different. But I have some spiritual stuff on there, and then I have some real world help too.
That's great.
Uh,
I really appreciate what you're doing. I think that, helping people with their struggles through your podcast is really amazing.
Thanks. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I hope everybody just has an opportunity to practice some mindfulness in their day.
Do you want to go through a short, like 30-second
Sure.
exercise?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So, if everybody has the opportunity to just sit and have their feet on the floor and just close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. And if you're not, just keep them open and just feel what it feels like to have your feet on the floor and just start to notice your breath. You don't have to change the way you're breathing. Just notice it come in and go out, and come in and go out. And if you notice that your mind drifts away, just acknowledge that it happens and go back to your breath. And again, you're just watching your breath without changing it. And then, whenever you guys are ready, just slowly open your eyes. And again, notice the feeling of your feet on the floor. And that's a great way to just do, 30 seconds of mindfulness throughout your
Oh,
day.
that's just wonderful. I really like that.
Awesome.
You brought me down deep real fast.
Good. Awesome.
That's good. So please schedule another time with me in the future
Yeah,
whenever
absolutely.
you'd like. I'll immediately put this up, okay?
Sounds great.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.